Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Paul, hope you're having an amazing day, and yes, I'm back. I'll give you guys a quick update for those who missed my previous video or two, which has been explaining why the hell I've been gone from the channel for the last while. But yeah, there is an awful lot of news I want to get through, and I'll start out with an RTX 50 Super update. So I'm sure most of you know that Nvidia are planning to release essentially an enhanced version of the RTX 50 series, and the primary difference between the vanilla cards and the refresh, of course, is an increase in the amount of memory, which I think we would agree is perhaps one of the weak points for a couple of SKUs. The 5070 is a primary candidate for this upgrade, and bus width is essentially staying the same, it would seem, but they're going to be using higher density memory modules. Some GPUs do get a small bump in the number of SM, and it seems potentially possible that we'll see higher clock frequencies, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. The specifications have been doing the rounds for a while now, and Coppertight 7 Kimmy has leaked pretty much all of them, although as with any leak and rumour, we have to wait until Nvidia actually confirms this stuff because anything can change. As for the timing, Q4 this year seems most likely. Previous rumours pointed to Q1 next year, but Nvidia seems pretty damn keen actually to get this refresh out. So basically the board channels forum, and this is actually via Chip Hell, was stating that, well, certain SKUs just aren't selling that well, and Nvidia have basically been seeing inventory piling up. And so they're starting to cut production, which obviously is a good indicator that they'll want to change things around. Now, of course, with any rumour, like I just said, it's very difficult to know whether one thing directly points to another, but this does lead me to an interesting update actually from one of my sources. They've had a pretty good track record, especially with Nvidia stuff. This does concern prices, and obviously prices can change up until the very last moment, but this seems to be the general consensus at the moment. Now, I'm going to have to put my glasses on because my eyesight sucks ass, so apologies for this, but now we have another pair of eyes on this. The old prices that I'd leaked, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. I haven't been around for a while, so time has lost all meaning. But basically, the 5080 Super was $1,149 US. Meanwhile, $850 US for the 5070 Ti Super, which the name, I'm not sure whether you want to call it brilliant or absurd. I'll leave you guys to decide that one. $600. I'm going to round up the prices here for the 5070 Super. Meanwhile, the new prices I've been hearing are actually cheaper than this, which I actually think is a really good thing, and perhaps much more in line with what Nvidia have done in the past. So we're looking at $1,000 US, which is, it's not exactly the price of gum, but it's reasonable, I suppose, for the 5080 Super, which is essentially the same card as the 5080 regular card. It's got more RAM. 5070 Ti Super, $750 US. 5070 Super, meanwhile, is going to be $550 US. I'll be very interested to see whether it's a big shot on the arm for the RTX 50 cards. It's also going to be very interesting to see what happens regarding the release schedule of RDNA 5, which I'm going to cover in another video because I know there's been quite a lot of stuff actually for RDNA 5 that has been leaking, and also I'll be covering, of course, the next generation console rumors. There are so many conflicting pieces of information regarding that one. I might have to script the PlayStation 6 thing actually. But yeah, I'm very curious to hear what your thoughts are on this. I'll be also curious whether AMD makes any response. I haven't heard of anything regarding an RDNA 4 refresh, but maybe they'll make some changes, perhaps cut the prices or something like that. I will say that FSR 4, the update with Redstone, looks really cool actually. And I think that if AMD can improve their software stack and ray tracing performance and blah 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 for the next generation, AMD will actually have some pretty compelling cards. Who knows what the flagship will be, for both companies, whether we're going to have an RTX 6090 competitor from AMD. We'll have to wait and see. And either way, I think for many gamers anyway, a card that costs like $2,000 US, yeah, it's great, but, the mid-range I think is going to be much more important. Now, let's hop, skip, and jump our way over to Intel Nova Lake, shall we? Now I want to give credit here to Moore's Law is Dead regarding the leak here, and this is again for Intel's Nova Lake. Now the primary change that we're seeing here, of course, is the fact that there seems to be a new SKU of Nova Lake. And long story short, the previous rumor was that we would see 144 megabytes of BLLC, which is, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's essentially like an additional cache tile that's latched on to one of the CCDs, or should I say compute tiles with Intel's language. They're not doing stacking like what AMD are, but I'm just trying to use language here that we're all on the same page. Regardless, anyway, there was going to be a single cache tile, much like you would see with, let's say, the 9950X3D. So one CCD, of course, with the X3D, you have that extra 64 megabytes of L3 cache, and then the other chip, also I say the other CCD, is essentially vanilla, and that was seemingly what Intel were going to be doing with Nova Lake. But this update actually points to the fact that no. Well, you can see the diagram here that Moore's Law has put together. Basically, there's going to be both of these tiles, which are going to have this additional cache. So that would be very impressive. Now, it seems that this is going to be the flagship, and it's using TSMC's 2NM process, or should I say N2P process. So that's 288 megabytes. I'm going to repeat that, 288 megabytes of L3 cache, which... I'm sorry, I know, it just tickles me. Like, that's over double the amount of memory that I was running on my K6-2 back in the day that I was using for Quake 2 on my Voodoo 3. Just so you know, that was 128 megabytes, and I was proud of every damn megabyte, okay? So yeah. Now, obviously, this flagship configuration is probably going to be for more professional users. It's not necessarily going to be gaming related, and that's 52 cores total. Meanwhile, the premium gaming configuration is still using, of course, TSMC's N2P. It's going to have 8 plus 16, so of course those will be performance and efficiency cores, and then obviously you've got the LP cores, which would be the 4, and that's 28 cores total, and that would have 144 megabytes. Now, I've spoken to a couple of sources about this. I actually wanted to cover this a couple of days ago, but yeah, as you guys know, I haven't exactly been around too much, and I do believe that this is correct. I've actually had this confirmed now with a couple of sources. Now, I'm actually very curious about this because previous rumors were that this was not the case, so it does seem that Intel have been changing things around. Having said that, things are just so damn freaking chaotic at the moment with Intel. I mean, at this point, we don't even know if they're going to be going fabless or not. Like, it literally, at this point, it kind of feels like... I know this is going to sound absolutely ridiculous, but it's like reading Intel news sometimes is almost like watching the decline of a loved one in hospital. You're just like, oh god, dude, what's next? Like it's really painful. So anyway, regarding that, one note says that the non-BLLC Nova Lake is expected to bring a 16% single thread performance and 12% multi-threading, and this is over Arrow Lake. Another doc says that BLLC should bring a 20% single thread and a 23% multi-threading performance, and a simulation for the 52-core flagship is 20% and 80% multi-thread. Now, obviously, you can't do a direct apples for apples comparison. As rightly is pointed out here, you have a crap ton of additional cores, so you could obviously say, well, that does make an awful lot of sense. The gaming document, though, it says that the BLLC Nova Lake should outperform Arrow Lake by 30 to 45%. Nova Lake standard will be around 10 to 15%. It's going to be very interesting to see how Zen 6 compares against Nova Lake. At this point, I've heard conflicting information from both sides. You know, some people prefer AMD, some people, and including sources, prefer Intel. I would not be surprised if Intel has the multi-threading advantage, because quite frankly, with this number of cores, they bloody well should have the multi-threading advantage. Like, if not, I would just be like, yo, it's it's over. Just it's done for you. They have so many cores. Obviously, though, with the next generation of Zen, they're going to be switching to 12 cores on each CCD, so that is going to be pretty impressive. And they have SMT as well. But the thing is, though, gaming is not really going to be pushing all of those cores. So to me, it's going to be very intriguing to see what happens regarding the gaming performance with Zen 6. But also, I mean, just being really honest with you, even with, let's say next year, the 6090 launches. That's not a leak, by the way. That's just, you know, as an example. At 4K, if you're cranking up all the ray tracing settings, you're probably not going to notice a huge difference in a lot of games. Obviously, there are going to be games which are certainly going to be a lot more CPU dependent, but yeah, you know what it's like, especially if you're not using upscaling. With that said, you can close out the video now. I'm going to give you guys a really quick update. So anyway, guys, what's been going on with me? Well, basically, I think the briefest way of explaining this, because I have gone over this once previously, I'll probably explain this further in another video on my other channel, which is a fitness channel, ironically. But I do want to give you just a quick update if you don't know what's been going on. Basically speaking, I managed to get cellulitis in one eye, and then it jumped to the other eye. I ended up spending a day in hospital, and I had like a couple of additional appointments as well. I essentially just couldn't see for several days, and then even when my eyes were getting better, I had severe headaches. It just wasn't good, actually. Let's just go with that. It sucked ass. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. I can't show you photos because the video would get demonetized. I'm not kidding. It was really not good. I have never been that sick before. I'm not kidding on that. Like I've been ill, you know, with the flus and God knows what else, and yeah, this sucked. And it was just absolutely awful. Because there were a couple of days, well, it's actually like a week, I just couldn't do anything. I couldn't really read. Watching stuff, it's like your eyes just couldn't really focus on anything, so it was like, you pretty much just listening at that point. So it was, what entertainment was just going on, like YouTube and just watching random clips of crap, to be honest. Just random podcasts and any other crap I could entertain myself with, because there was no video games. Could check up the tech news. It sucked. But anyway, as I said, I'll cover this more extensively probably in another video, but I just wanted to go over it one more time. As you can see, there is still a little bit of swelling. My eyes are nowhere near, like, yeah, it looks right now like I've got a small amount of allergies rather than, oh my god, he is from a horror movie. Because my eyes, I can't even explain it. Like, my entire eye, so like the entire thing was just red. Like, it was not just, oh, it looks slightly, no, it literally looked like someone had taken, like, my eyes into Photoshop and just replaced them with red. It was, oof. Anyway, I think that's just about it for this video. I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe. Bye for now.